Okay, thanks.
Okay, does anyone have any reason not to invite West Durant to join our group, our board, our association?
I don't.
Council. There we go.
No.
Everybody thinks it's a good idea?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think you may have to just take a formal.
Yep, I was about to say.
Yep.
So why don't we do a roll call on approval or disapproval? Lori Fairbay, say for or against. Lori Fairbay?
Oh, Laura, you're muted.
Kate Bliss?
4.
Karen Schultz?
4.
Pat Wheeler?
4.
Bob Blair, 4. And Lori Fairbay?
4.
Thank you. So it's unanimous that we approve welcoming or forwarding the application of West Durant to the Board of Selectmen for appointment as a member of the Council on Aging. Passed unanimously.
Okay.
We still need one additional member. We're still shy one member of the Board of the Council on Aging. Does anyone have additional members that, or people in mind that we might invite to join us?
How about Evie? Would she be interested?
You want to ask her?
Sure.
Okay. That would be a welcome addition. I don't know. Well, it's up to her to say whether she's crazy busy or would be interested in doing it, but
Okay.
she certainly would be a good person to have. Any others?
I reached out to somebody, but her schedule is too chaotic. She's a school nurse, and I thought her nursing experience might be a nice, addition to the group, but life is too crazy right now, so not good.
Especially for somebody in nursing. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, get that. Anyone else? Okay, let's, Lori, you're going to ask Evie, and
Yep.
the rest of us can put on our thinking caps, and if anybody else comes to mind, that's something we can bring up at our next meeting then. We do need to fill one more position, and it's good to have a full slate in case somebody has to be absent for the meeting and you're not able to form a quorum for vote.
Is that in the Powder House News that we're looking for someone?
It's been
Yes.
in, I think,
Yep.
for quite some time, 2 or 3 issues.
2 issues. Yep.
Okay.
Food donations from the Worcester County Sheriff's Office. Food donation. Who's familiar with that?
So 2 weeks ago, the Worcester County Sheriff's Office decided to come and bring by some donations. I guess they've been going to every town in the county with donations. So they came by, I guess, about 2 weeks ago. I wasn't here that day, but Margaret and Mary were here to accept the food. So, but it seemed to be like, I think it was some vegetables.
It's quite a bunch of vegetables. I think it was about 4 or 5 milk cartons full of vegetables. They offered them to us. We'd considered possibly distributing them to the people on the Meals on Wheels route, which now has jumped up to 8 people. At one point it was 4 and then 5 and 6, so now it's at 8. But it seemed, since it was arriving as almost immediately and needed to be distributed instead of letting it sit there and go punk, thought probably the best option would be to call the food bank, and they were more than happy to take it and were able to distribute it right away. So that turned out to be a good thing. It just didn't happen to go through the Meals on Wheels program. But it was used in the community, so that's a good thing. And it was, has anybody sent a letter, he said, who probably himself should have sent one, to the Worcester County Sheriff's Office?
Oh, I can send one.
Okay, that'd be nice. And you might put in a request for rutabaga next year or some other things that are a little, just to,
Sounds good.
broaden the selection in case that
Sounds
was ever an issue. Item 6 is yoga, tai chi, and van service.
Yep, so just giving you guys an update on everything. So yoga officially started back on Saturday, September 12th. So I was here for that one. And Sharon, what we've been doing is actually using the parking lot actually of the town offices. So it's instead of it being like outdoor grass yoga, it's been like outdoor parking lot yoga. But it's been successful because we've been able to basically socially distance everybody. So they're basically, every other parking spot. So everybody still has plenty of room. They can take off their mask, like they can breathe and still, hear what Sharon is doing while still being able to participate. So we've done 3 sessions of that so far. I did hear from Jeff, he's the Tai Chi instructor. I guess that there was somebody that he worked with who was out sick. So he was asked to take care of their classes as well. So he said that he wouldn't be able to resume Tai Chi until October. So I just told him to let us know when he would be available and we can go from there.
And you said that some people in yoga voluntarily make contributions to the.
Yeah, the first session they did, they basically had their money ready and they were very happy to donate. So, we can still encourage them.
What do they contribute per session?
I think like the suggested ask was like $2 or $3 a session.
That sounds good. Since they're doing it in parking spaces, I mean, you could put a parking meter on each one of them and then they just feed the slots while they're there might come out to more than $3, who knows? All right. Contact with the 1870 Town Hall for services.
So that was something I wanted to ask you guys, since the weather is getting colder and we can still have these classes. Are you guys interested and are you okay with us moving classes to 1870 Town Hall? So that way people can be inside and they can still get used for the classes. I think the office down here is just with everything in it and with trying to socially distance, I think it's too small. But the 1870, they've got, 2 floors where, depending on the size of the class, we can really have people spread out.
Okay, so the room outside your office is, excuse me, I have a cat that's trying to eat my feet. That's too small for the yoga classes?
I think just trying to get between all of the like the tables, the van chairs, the donations, like it's kind of impacting the room a little bit. And my thought is, with trying to measure everybody, because we've been trying to do more than 6 feet apart, like we've been trying to do 10 to 12 feet apart, just again for, just being, very cautious. I think if we did something at 1870 or somewhere else that would allow us to have just more room, just so again, if people wanted, to be able to kind of take a breather and, stretch out and be able to, have more room, it just may be more feasible versus here where, people would be literally at least 6, would have to be, very much, I guess, in more confined quarters.
How many are in a class?
The yoga have been averaging 5. I think Tai Chi was like closer to 10. And then there's chair yoga, and then chair yoga I think is about another 5.
Okay, so if we use the 1870, is there a charge to us for that?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, does anybody have a feeling about whether or not we should be requesting use of the 1870 Town Hall for these classes?
I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Nope, me either.
The distance sounds good.
Yeah.
And if there was a cost, I would absolutely let you all know before we committed to anything. I wouldn't commit to anything if there was a cost without talking to you first.
Suppose there's a case where somebody asks to rent the 1870 Town Hall space that we use for yoga. At the same time, we've scheduled a yoga class. Do we get bumped in that case, or? we would.
So there's already a conflict of interest. There was one day that Lisa Smith had told me that with the building was already booked, so I wouldn't have yoga that day.
Oh yeah, it said 10/24.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't
So
see
what
how
would
we
be the
couldn't
fault?
work
What would
out
be the?
scheduling stuff though, right? If there's, I don't see how, I don't think it would be hard to work out a scheduling issue though. If there was something that came up, maybe we could just bump the time,
Yeah.
an hour later or an hour earlier, depending on what 1870 had scheduled.
Yeah, I know the 24th, it was an all-day event, which is why I would not for that day. But I think going forward, just we could probably be flexible with the time. I'm just not sure, or like we could use a different room or something like that, just depending on whatever the circumstance may be.
Hmm.
And if we only have 5, it's not the worst situation to come back to the town hall room.
Yeah.
But aesthetically, 1870 is nicer.
Well, we could put curtains in the eight.
Well, I just mean with all the equipment and chairs and the tables and all of that stuff, that's, everybody's gonna be going, okay, can I do this pose without knocking this over? And
Well, I'm not. My impression is that there isn't that much in the room in the base of the. I mean, we've got the stuff at one end of the room, the what do you call it, durable equipment, the crutches and wheelchairs and all that. There's a table near Victoria's office, but that's typically what the person running the Tai Chi or yoga uses for whatever. So, I'm just, I don't know. Seems like we have a space and should be using it if we can, but
We may wind up getting a freezer back in the office as well.
that would be cool.
Yeah, with I guess they had asked me last week about potentially having a freezer come back in the office just for temporarily to store food for the food bank. So they
Yeah,
can't.
I think long term, because that seems like something that pops up, and the way the feds work for some reason, and this has happened much more than once, they call and tell you that it's going to be happening in a couple of weeks, and then the next thing you know, they're saying, well, tomorrow morning at 8, truck is going to arrive, and can you get the stuff out to everybody? So turns out you need to have a freezer. So it makes me wonder if we should be looking for freezer space, if there is such, elsewhere in the town office building / fire, police, rescue, etc.
Yeah.
area.
I hear you. I mean, I can certainly, reach out again. It just, our fingers may be tied for now. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to find space
And
immediately.
I know on the voting situation that they will be occupying the space. Is that just for the volunteers for food, or is that for actual processing of voters?
I believe I believe that the voters are going to be like down the hall and in the training room. But I
Right.
think the volunteers, like, I don't know if they're opening like absentee ballots or if they're counting them and stuff like that. So
That sounds right. Yeah. But I thought also there was a break space, and maybe it was partly that.
might be, yeah.
Yeah, used to be, yeah.
I hope they don't get peanut butter on any ballots or anything while they're doing that. Oh, well. So,
Couldn't a freezer go in the hallway?
I guess,
So be close to where the food pantry is?
I think it would narrow the exit way. An exit way has to be so many feet wide in order to comport with
Yeah.
fire regulations. I think that would definitely constrict that. Typically,
Okay.
typically safety people do not like stuff anywhere in an exit way.
Mhm.
Proximity wise would make all kinds of sense. Maybe we could just have one of the police cars pull out and put a freezer out there. Accepting rides for van service Monday to Friday, average 4 days. I think you covered that.
Yep.
Information session.
yes. So we've got a few coming up. Next Tuesday, the 6th, we have our Medicare fraud webinar. It's going to be at 1 o'clock. I'll send the info out to you. I just forwarded it to Margaret as well, because I believe that other departments may be working with this as well. So I did reach out to them too to see if we can record it as well, just so we can put it up like on YouTube, Facebook, and potentially, cable access. So I'm just awaiting their response for that.
How is it presented? Oh, as a webinar, you said.
It's a Zoom meeting, basically.
Okay, okay.
And
And
then,
the same with the Shine?
yes, so Shine, I believe that the Shine one is the beginning of November. I believe it's the 5th of November, right after elections. And it's going to be a webinar, a Zoom webinar, and I believe it's with Berlin, Clinton, and Boylston. So, and then what we can do is we can put the information for it in the Powder House News, because people can then just log on and join in from there.
Okay. Can you demystify the acronym SHINE? What does it actually stand for?
So Shine Counseling is basically just, it's for senior help. So they do a lot of work with seniors in terms of health insurance and helping people get enrolled in health insurance, understanding the differences between Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, how, and then basically, what is open enrollment, what are the different parts of Medicare, Part A versus Part B versus Part D. So that's like the hospitalization versus your primary care versus your prescription plans. So they really kind of help, people can schedule one-on-one visits with them to then get the best, to enroll into the best plans for them.
So would we as a result of that, would one of us as a result of that qualify as a SHINE counselor? Because a lot of
No.
COAs have a SHINE counselor.
It's a special training that you have to qualify for. It's a few, I think it's a couple hundred hours or so. It's intense, but at the end of it, you can be deemed a SHINE counselor.
Are any other area COAs amenable to having our citizens ask them questions about the SHINE program?
I mean, the Clinton Senior Center does have a SHINE counselor. He's in training, and she said if we needed anything, we could ask him. And then there are regional SHINE counselors as well. So right now, I know with COVID that they're not doing much in person, but they are doing things like either through Zoom, or they're doing telephone calls too. So there should be ways that people, if they needed to talk to a SHINE counselor, we should be able to get them connected to somebody.
Okay. It's good. And so then we would hopefully be able to promulgate that information about who to call and what kind of information will be available in the Powder House News.
Yep.
Okay. So is that something you think would have gelled enough to have an item in the next Powder House News about it?
Open enrollment starts October 15th and it goes to about the end of the year. So it's up to you guys. I think that it would probably be good timing because the window is so short. People could theoretically try to change their health insurance during the year, but it's not guaranteed, or they could potentially face a penalty. So open enrollment's really the time. If you're going to change, you want to do it then.
Okay. And Karen, do you run into people in your profession who are stumped by the labyrinth of stuff you have to run through to get connected with government programs that help people with health issues and so forth?
Yeah, it gets very complicated. Yeah. And I agree with what Victoria is saying. Open enrollment's the best time to do it, because if you wait, I think getting that information out is important during this time frame. I've seen all sorts of crazy things happen with the insurance. Victoria, you may not know, but I actually do the same work that you do. Yeah, it can get complicated, and there can be penalties, and I've seen people try to do it halfway through their rehab stay and they're responsible to pay. So there can be a lot of interesting things that can happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the process is very complicated, and it's very hard to really kind of decode it if you don't know what you're looking for. So, and unfortunately, this is stuff that I would, like Karen is saying, I'd rather get it out now and have people have it, in case they need it versus them really actively needing it and then they're scrambling. So.
Okay. Who would like to take on the responsibility for making an article about it for the next Powderhouse News?
I mean, I can do it if no one else can. I have no
I
problem.
can probably work with you at that, Victoria, if you'd
Perfect.
like. I think the two of us together could probably do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great. Excellent. Any other ideas under the information heading?
The only other thing I was thinking of is I didn't know if you guys wanted to try to maybe do some like virtual art classes, just something different to just try to get people engaged. One of
One
our,
of the residents at Northbrook One said she would teach one. She apparently had taught one at 19 Carter.
oh, okay.
In fact, one of the residents in Northbrook 2 also did. I think she was one of the ones displaced by the great flood of 2020. But so at least 2 people, I think, have expressed willingness to conduct such a class. And you think that would be done on Berlin cable?
We could try it, or even YouTube if the videos are small enough. I mean, we have one of our drivers too. She's an artist as well. She does a little bit of everything. So I think we've got enough people in town to teach it. And, we could, if each of them had their own specialty, they could theoretically do that. I think it's just something nice, especially with the with the colder weather setting in. We're not going to be outside nearly as much, and it's just something to do.
Okay, what would it take to kick it in gear?
Well, us talking about it was a good first step. So, but beyond this, it's really, I would just say reach out to whomever you guys think would be, willing to take on the classes, and then we could figure out, how we want to do it. I would assume doing something recorded, either like a Zoom or, something like that, where we could then get the content online.
Sounds like we're back to Brittany again.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just writing myself a note, teachers for art classes, and I'll contact the 2 people at Northbrook.
Perfect.
And then, did you say you heard of one other person?
Yeah, one of our van drivers, Jeannie.
Oh yeah,
she's
van
a-
driver.
Yep.
Okay, why don't you broach the subject with her?
Okay.
Tell her she can't do it while she's driving, but or she has to pull over when she makes a particularly swishing move with the paintbrush.
I think that's a good compromise.
Yeah. She could decorate the van while she's at, never mind. Okay, senior outdoor event.
So that's the question to you guys. Peg Stone on the Board of Selectmen had approached me a couple weeks ago and told me that Southborough, I guess, did a drive-through like barbecue back in July. And she wanted to know if the Council on Aging would be willing to do something for our seniors. So I just kind of wanted to float the idea by you guys. Something that I've just been looking into, we're not committed to anything, but just to get an idea is maybe seeing if we could do like a drive-in movie. People could then, kind of bring up their cars, bring their kids. We would just need to probably rent the screen, projector, potentially speakers, depending on the kind of movie we want to show. And, we could try to involve, local businesses like the general store or something like that, if that was something that they would be interested in. I'm working with Officer Goody just to get a quote on the screen. I haven't heard back from him yet, so I'm gonna email Chief Galvin to see if he can come down and see me so we can kind of get a better estimate. We're not committed to anything, but it just was something that, didn't know if we wanted to try something before it gets, too crappy out.
Yeah, it's a pretty short time frame to get the thing organized. So you have some activity going regarding that. Would anybody else on the Council on Aging be willing to work as a subcommittee to put this together?
I can help with that if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna cost like, too much money, or if it's something that we feasibly couldn't pull off now. It doesn't mean we couldn't do the same thing like in the spring.
Right.
It doesn't mean something, I think just, kind of approaching this idea I think would be a really cool idea, just something different. And, you know, with COVID, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
agree.
And where, just for purposes of noodling, where would the movie be projected?
well, we would have to figure that out. I know the memorial school, like they would have the, you know, the porta potty access and things like that. So for that portion of it, we probably would be okay. You know, we could certainly reach out, you know, working with Chief Galvin and working, you know, again, if we decided to do the school, working with them to see if we could get that going.
So in that case, would it be same kind of area where the town meeting was outdoors and project again? We could whitewash the end wall of the school and just project right on that, or getting a screen, you'd have to get a fairly sizable screen, I'm assuming. You think
Yeah,
Officer Goody has a
he does.
idea?
He knows somebody that I guess makes, you know, big projection screens, big movie screens. So it's just something worth exploring.
Okay, so Kate is one person. Anybody else want to work on that?
All right, sure, I'll help. Just let me know what you need me to do.
Okay.
Good, great, great. All right. Karen and Kate. Super, thank you both for doing that. Thank you all three for doing that. If you need any additional help from me, let me know and I'll be happy to lend an oar as well.
Sure.
An item here, getting Berlin seniors to co-sponsor ideas.
So yeah, so just talking with them, they seemed open to it. You know, if we have any ideas going forward, we can bring it up at the Berlin seniors meeting as well. So just something to mention.
Yeah, they've seemed pretty gung-ho about Judy Mills in particular is very gung-ho about getting different town departments all cooperating and working together to bring these things off. And it certainly worked out well in the case of the show at the South Common, and the police and the fire and so on and so on, all working on it. That was great. Nice to see. And then Officer Goody got to do a second act, and he's always fun to listen to and informative. Which reminds me, never mind, we'll get to that at the end of this. Well, it's the next item, Powder House News. Need to
Oh,
submit.
wait a second. You said you were gonna bring that up at the next meeting, the Berlin senior meeting. Does anyone know what that is? I'm just taking notes, so. About them co-sponsoring? Is it, or maybe I misunderstood.
No. So they had a meeting on the 25th on Thursday, on the
Oh, okay.
24th. I had asked them, I said that, you know, we would be meeting as a council today just to see if they would be interested, if it was something that the council wanted to do.
Okay,
They seemed interested in it, but, you know, for any ideas going forward as well, as Bob was saying, that they really want to, if they can be involved with the Council on Aging or other town departments, they seem very interested in it.
okay.
So their meetings typically are the fourth Thursday at 10 in the morning.
So,
And they've been meeting, we've been meeting outdoors at the 19 Carter, but of course, that's a weather opportunity, and who knows if we'll be inside at Carter or 1870 Town Hall or whatever. That in their case, they're not a town agency, so there has been some question whether or not they'd wind up paying a fee to have their meetings at 1870. So if that were the case, I said we could always pull the cars out of my garage and we could just circle up inside there. But be a little chilly in December. All right. Medicare fraud webinar, senior sponsor ideas, Powderhouse News. All items need to be submitted by October 16th. What do we have?
we'd have to get it to Lori by the 9th, because if you guys wanted to come out before the election, we'd have to give Lori enough time to work on the layout and everything so we could get submitted by the 16th. So we can get, it takes them a week to process, so they would get it to us. You know,
Oh, I see. Okay, so submit by October 16th means the material all done up goes to the printer by the 16th.
Yeah.
So by the 9th, okay, that's a lot shorter time frame.
Yes,
What do we have in the
send it.
bucket? What do we have in the bucket?
Nothing yet.
I reached out to Chief Galvin and to Chief Clark, and I had asked them if they wanted anything from the public service side of things to go in. Chief Clark said whatever, whatever he can do to support us and the seniors that he's willing to do. And I know 19 Carter, 1870, and the Berlin seniors each wanted a blurb to be put in the paper as well. So what I'll do is I will email them all this week, and I'll say, if you want something in the paper, we need it by the 6th.
And I know that the Neshoba Neighbors Group also is interested in
Yes.
keeping their project in the eyes of seniors as they move toward now recruiting membership.
Right.
And we were talking about profiling, continuing the profile concept, and who should we be profiling this time?
I can ask the drivers. I think.
Bob,
Say what?
have you been in there yet?
No, I'm shy. I don't want to be in there.
Uh,
But
No, your turn.
No excuse.
yeah. Well, there
I
was talk. Go ahead, Karen.
that you should be interviewed, or you should write your profile.
I second that.
Only if we had others too. There was some talk about having the drivers. I think that
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
can ask them.
Yeah.
I think that they would be agreeable, and we have a couple pictures of the van, so that would be fine.
Be great.
You're not off the hook forever though, Bob. Maybe just this edition.
Yes, new year.
What was that? I didn't catch that.
We'll skip you for this edition. Have it prepared for the next one.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
2021 is the year of Bob's profile, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Actually,
can
what
fit 3 in. We can fit 3 in.
Actually, what you might get is the back of you might get the back of my head, not the profile.
If Lori needs material, we might have to do that, right? Get that
Yep.
third one.
Right.
Oh boy, now the pressure's on.
Mhm.
Okay, and then going forward from there, we haven't done Margaret, we have done the Board of Selectmen. We've done Victoria, we've done the Council on Aging members,
Except for Bob.
except for that guy. And then,
Well,
well,
Steve,
actually, we
Karen.
haven't done Wes either if he gets accepted, so. He might have to come first, so.
I
there
don't
we
think
go.
so. You're not
But
off the.
we should also be thinking ahead as to who else we're going to profile. Because there are a lot of people in town who are movers and shakers and do stuff and get good things done. It's nice to acknowledge their contributions.
Maybe we should do Evie down the road.
Yep, Evie and
Maybe, Chief
Yeah.
Galvin, Chief Clark, or people
Chief
like.
Galvin, Chief Clark, Marty and June Miller, Marty the photographer, and June and the Historical Society, and Barry Yeager for that matter. He's both moderator and a mover of the Historical Society.
There's Margaret and there's also Mary.
Oh, there's one. There we
And
go.
we should feature your grandson.
Speak about movers.
Oh,
He's a very moving mover.
Yeah.
oh, he's awful. I'm just following him around here all over the place.
You need a leash.
It wouldn't
All right,
work.
so any material that's going in needs to be to Lori by the 9th, which is not that far off. It's like a week and a half.
Yeah.
All right. 1870 Town Hall, 19 Carter, Berlin Seniors, Public Service. That's all information that you're figuring can be used in articles?
Yep.
Okay. Item 10 was calling seniors. I think that's a great idea. I will try to reach out to everybody who was on the list, see if they still have their lists. And I have some of their lists that they've turned in. So
Yeah.
we should be able to crank that back up in fairly short order.
Okay.
And you
I thought
have
we had to
allow
turn our
seniors to
list in,
reject
Bob.
calls. Excuse me?
Oh, sorry, I thought we had to turn our lists into you.
That's what I'm saying. I do have some of the, well, a lot of people didn't. And in fact, I hadn't bonged them over the head to turn them in, but And one I know didn't do one at all, had it, but couldn't for some reason do it. So I do have all the names, and I will go out to them and ask if they would be willing to continue that role and recontact the people they had. And there's an item here that says allow seniors to reject calls if unwanted. I think during the first call round, some people said they're fine, we don't need to call them. So I don't know if we take them at their word or annoy them and call them again.
I mean,
That
it's
was annoy them and call them again,
yeah.
because that was at the beginning of all this COVID.
Right. And they could be a lot more lonely at this stage of the game.
Right.
I think for the first round, we could call everybody. And then if people then say, no, I'm all set, you can take me off your list, then okay.
But what Bob was saying is some of them did say that the first time.
Yeah. And then there's also the issue of people who think they're all spam calls and they don't answer them. So we had about a 40% hit rate. Maybe we can improve it this time around. Who knows? Maybe
I
people have.
left messages and had a couple of people call me back. So
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too. Call me
Yeah.
back. They
Right.
didn't answer and they got my message and then called me back because I didn't recognize the number.
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yep. All right. So I'll pursue that. What else? We're going to start with monthly. We haven't called anybody back since we did it, and that was a long time ago.
Right.
Way more than a month.
Well, just to, if we wanted to pursue this ongoing, maybe do like once a month calls.
Maybe that's something we need to ask people or make sure that they understand that they can call us. Especially if somebody, well, you already said if people can reject calls if they don't want them. Okay, got it. Capital budget requests.
Yep, so this, by the mid-November, we have to submit capital budget requests into the town. So basically that's anything that we think that is gonna be more than $10,000 for the next fiscal year. We have to get it submitted. I don't know if we're gonna necessarily have anything besides maybe the operational costs of, like the van service, expenses, things like that. But I just wanted to ask if there was anything that you thought that we would need that would be a capital expense.
Well, the drive-in movie thing is not a capital expense, but it's likely an expense. So where do we come up with those funds?
Well, I think what we would do for the drive-in movie is we see how much it is. We can try to apply for grants through the Cultural Council, or we can try to ask Berlin Seniors to co-sponsor to then try to generate some revenue that way. I can also reach out to some of the local other towns too to see if it's something we could do like as a community event as opposed to just a Berlin event.
Okay. So that's not an area where we need to be concerned about capital
No.
requests. Anything the COA might need for next year? You have adequate office equipment to use for putting out what we do?
Yeah, for now we're doing okay. We had to get more of those basically newspaper patches that holds the Powder House News together. So we just bought some more of those, but we should have enough of those for a couple more sessions.
You get the clear ones or the white ones?
The white ones.
Those are the ones that didn't, well, we
Well,
were
they
debating
broke.
what caused them not to hold last time. Some of them didn't work in a pinch, so to speak, or the pinch didn't work on them.
So we'll try them out.
Okey
But
doke.
there's a handful of things that we could use, but there's nothing that would be a capital expense.
Okay. My senior center.
Yeah, I've been
Software?
playing around with the software just to try to get myself acclimated to it. It's nice to like add in the information. I was having some difficulty trying to get some of the figures to run, some of the projections to run. So I'm gonna probably email them and see if they can give me some assistance and try to learn how to do that. For some reason, it wouldn't let me generate a graph for totaling out like the van rides for the month. So I'm not sure if it was a glitch on my end or something else. So
Say it isn't so.
Could be. I'm human.
No. All right. Any other business anyone wants to bring up or discuss? Any ideas? Thoughts on additional programs we can do or things we can offer or rich people we can tap for big donations or no? All right, the next meeting is the 27th of October at 4 p.m. Same time, same station. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no further business.
I'll make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those, that's a second and a third. All those in favor, Lori?
Aye.
Kate Bliss?
Whoops.
Aye.
Whoops, aye. Karen Schultz?
Aye.
Pat Wheeler?
I think she
We
left.
lost her at some point.
She
We
left.
lost her like half hour ago.
Oh, no. All right, Bob Blair, yes, so we have 4. So that's quorum, so we can, otherwise we'd have to sit here all night because we don't have quorum to disappear. Very well, so remember to get any article material into Lori by the 9th. And good luck.
Bye,
on
everyone.
working-
I just want to say hello. Goodbye.
Hello, goodbye.
Thank you for all your
Bye-bye.
work.
Yes, thank you for being our hostess.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right, we are adjourned.